Hello everyone, welcome to another Transformers review. I thought I'd do another Pretender for you today. This is 1988 Autobot figure of Splashdown. Now he's obviously, like I say, a Pretender. One of the more unusual Pretenders. I don't believe he was that widely available in the UK. I've managed to cobble together a figure through various means, picking up the different accessories and that. Not that easy to get hold of. You often will have to resort to buying from abroad to get this guy. Quite a nice figure. Original size Pretender rather than the smaller later lines, so again quite satisfactory in that way. Fits nicely in with the other Autobot first wave figures. As you can see, the Pretender shell is more aquatic, based on a water based transformer, so that's why he's got a shark sort of motif on the chest. Works quite well, and it's quite a nice shell all in all anyway. Quite nicely moulded. If I show you the back as well, it's pretty good. Get quite a few accessories with this guy. I'll go through those as I take him apart, obviously, to get to the Pretender inside, and I'll show you a few sort of like little weak points as well. Now, as with a lot of the early Pretenders, you've got a helmet you've got to take off. Now this leads to one issue which will be apparent straight away. He's got a blue nose. Now this is because obviously this is moulded in with the body rather than being a separate part, and of course the face is painted, so when the helmet goes on and off it wears the paint on the nose. Kind of unavoidable with these sort of figures. It is a little bit of a pain, but if you find the right colour paint you'll be able to touch up any figures like that. But it is just a case of colour matching to the face paint, which is slightly different I think on all of them. Now, putting that to one side, I'll let you have a little bit of a better look of his helmet, which is again quite nicely moulded. There's some moulding detail all the way around. Reminds me a little bit of a Predator helmet, so quite nice, and again sort of like sharky water based sort of fin on the top of the helmet as well. Yeah, pretty good. But again, that sort of rubbery plastic. Now that goes for most of the accessories with this guy. Now his main weapon is like a harpoon gun. Again, nicely moulded, lots of detail in there. Rubbery sort of plastic. Now this is where you sometimes get issues. As you can see on this one, there are some slight rubbing of plastic going on there where it's quite tight in the fist of the figure. Now, don't know whether that's particular to him. I haven't really noticed that too much on some of my other ones from the first wave, but it is something to bear in mind. And again, I have seen these sort of weapons with the pegs snapped off through overzealous play from kids, and obviously you tend to see these sort of weapons where they're more rubbery, where they're a bit chewed as well, where kids like to stick different things in their mouths, or maybe their younger siblings have and chewed them for them, or maybe they're pets, you know. But it pays to pay particular attention to the accessories when you're picking them up and what condition they're in. Anyway, that's his harpoon gun. Now getting to this one. Now this is a real pain to get. Luckily I managed to get this guy cobbled together out of two lots I managed to pick up. One was a decent shell and the other one was a discoloured shell, but it had all the accessories, so the two worked together. But apart from that, it was this thing what really tipped the balance for me. This is a harder to get weapon out of this set. You often see it's either had part of this grip snapped off, but the most common thing you see is the top point or these side points chewed and sort of damaged. So if you see one of these, it's worth getting. Even if you haven't got the figure, there's a good chance you'll manage to pick up the figure without this, so it is an accessory worth keeping your eye out for. Like I say, it's just a spear, but it just adds a little bit more to the figure, and it's quite nice. It's a little bit unusual. It's a bit more of a sort of, well, I suppose you could say it doubles up as a sword, but it yeah, it adds a certain amount to it and works quite well with the Pretenders anyway. Putting that to the side, you've then got these two bits. Now they just peg in to a hole on that side on his left arm. There isn't one on the right, so it is particular to that side. This contains part of the inner bot, which is almost like a shield, although you can't hold it as a shield, which is a bit strange. I did think it should have been able to double up, but as far as I can tell it can't. There is a little bit of plastic wear there, so unless there was a thinner pin part which has come off that, but I'm not aware of that. Anyway, so that is like a shield part of vehicle part in his alt mode for the inner bot. And this is the inner bot's gun. Now again, particular to this figure, quite nicely moulded and a bit reminiscent of a cross between almost Ape Faces and Chrome Dome's sort of gun, similar to that, but yeah, quite nice. And again, not the easiest one to pick up, this one, so worth looking out for that. More so probably the UK, like I say, probably in the States might well be more common, but worth mentioning if you're a UK collector like myself. Now the last thing you've got to do with this guy, at least to get to the inner bot, is take off his belt. Now they work exactly the same as the other early ones. So you take off the lower teeth, like the shark front, and they just go on the side pegs. So again, when you get in this guy, you've got to look to make sure that these holes are nice and not broken, otherwise the belt won't stay on properly. So another thing to look out for, and again that's sort of that very rubbery plastic, so that it's got some give to fit to the figure. Now, as with all pretenders, they split straight up the middle like so, and you end up with your bot folded up inside like so, and like with all of them you've just got the reverse of the moulding going on the inside. Pop him out, and of course you can then quickly put the figure back together. They do hold together reasonably well without all the other parts like the belts, but the belt does clip that sort of peg together. It's in like two halves, so when you put the belt on, it holds it all firmly, stops the pretender shells popping apart. So quickly popping those bits back on. It is also worth noting, again, this is a figure where you get a little bit of colour foxing. Now where I had another shell, this blue had discoloured quite badly, almost to a greeny colour, so that's again common fault, but you do get a little bit of the foxing. It's not showing up greatly because it isn't that bad, but you get a little tiny bit in the lighter colour plastics. Again, this is slightly rubbery sort of feel to the plastic. They do suffer with that sort of, I don't know what you call it, like brown spotting, foxing over the years. Now this is the pretender in a robot folded up. He only actually folds his arms around, not for the transformation actually, only for actually storing inside the main bot, so it's a little bit different in that way. Now these joints are very stiff, so you have to take a bit of care pulling them around. As with a lot of the pretenders, they got those almost like opaque sort of stickers. You can almost see through them slightly, so they appear a little bit less vibrant than say like the solid stickers you get on a lot of the G1s, but they're all right. I don't know if there's any quite missing from this guy, but they were pretty much all there as far as I could tell anyway, and I got the fella. You got to just fold his feet out to finish the transformation from that mode, and that is your basic robot mode. Now like I say, this other part, I did think at first it would be an arm shield, but that peg is too loose there. Where it actually fits in his vehicle mode is actually on the back of his head, but obviously if you put it on there now, he ends up with a Harry Hill collar, for those people that are aware who he is. I did think then maybe, oh well, you could turn it the other way and do it, but the bump on his back actually restricts that pin going in, so it's sort of just about hold but again it looks a little bit weird that he's got that behind him. At a real pinch, I would say, if you're going to display him in this sort of mode, stick that back on the arm of the main figure. But there you go. And obviously in robot mode he can hold his own gun, which again, obviously you've got to be a bit careful that you don't break the pegs. But all in all, a reasonable figure, pretty similar to all of the original G1 Pretender inner figures. Slight exception though. Now with a lot of them, they've all got the movement at the hip for the transformation basically, because they fold in half, and again a little bit at the knee usually, again for the transformation. But because this guy's transformation is slightly different, he's actually got waist swivel. Now they don't all have that, so that's quite nice. That's a little bit something extra. And his head of course does revolve 360, and again it's to do with the transformation. Now getting to the transformation, now I've got to remember, because again you've got to consider this guy's a bit newer to me, you fold his legs backwards, but before you do that, that's it, you've got to revolve him due to his waist swivel all the way round, and that gives you this more cut out area to fold his legs into. Extend the feet back like they were on the when they were inside the inner Pretender shell. Yeah, that's it. Bring his arms round, extend the legs out, like I say, extend the feet out. It's a little bit of an odd one. This isn't really a clear alt mode, for want of a better word. Now at that point he still looks weird. You've got to turn the head round, and this is where this part comes in. Now that really, bearing in mind that, alright, back in the day they had less technology, I'm sure they could have managed to get that on a hinge piece, even work it with his chest piece so that it flips over, but they didn't. So again, it's a bit stupid, but for those sad collectors like myself who like Pretenders, you're going to have to live with it, I'm afraid. It's an old bot. So what you end up with is that, which is not the most effective transformer. Now I did think at first, which would be a logical thing, that the arms fold in underneath and would tuck away, and that the legs would come round and it would make a neater, more compact sort of vehicle mode. But of course that means it can't. So like I say, they've got to come up to the side and they've got to come round underneath. So it is a very strange, very sort of cobbled together vehicle mode. Probably one of the worst ones, I'd have to admit that. Although I'm very happy that I've got this guy, because like I say, he's one of the rarer Transformers to get in the UK anyway, as one of the Pretenders. That is not good. That's really sort of a half-baked design. They could have done so much more with that, but never mind. Last bit to do is fit the gun on top, which really doesn't add much at all to the actual vehicle mode. Even allowing that could be a Cybertron sort of mode, it's some sort of boat cum submarine figure. I'm a little bit stumped with it myself. Like I say, it is not the best. There's not really much else you can do to it that would improve it without completely redesigning the figure. It needs an update really on this one, I'm afraid. But as a vintage collector, it's got its place in my collection, so that's why I wanted it really. Like I say, most people aren't going to display it in this mode anyway, so you're never going to have to really put up with that. What you will do, of course, is what I will do when I finally get things displayed. If I can ever get this top back part off again, there you go, is pop that onto there, back on his arm, transform this guy back to his robot mode, which is by far and away the best thing you can do with him. Swivel him round, that's it, and pop his gun back in, and that's going to be the way he's going to get displayed on my shelf, which is a lot better. I mean, he's got some quite nice, it's unusual actually, he's got some proper paint apps with the silver there on the chest area, and a little Autobot sticker on the front as well. Face detail is pretty basic, but then they all are on the Pretenders. Like I say, that's how I'm going to display mine with the two together. I'd imagine pretty much everyone else does as well. But anyway, like I say, it's one of the rarer later lines of Transformers, a Series 5 one from '88, so more towards the end of the lines when Hasbro were coming up with some strange ideas. But like I say, it's got its place in the Transformers universe, and it's certainly got its place in my collection. Anyway, as you can tell, as much as I'm infused by the Pretenders as a line, love the shell. Got to say, that's a real nice one. From the best ones being sort of more like Skullgrin, ones like that, where they're monster ones and a bit more exciting. For the humanoid ones, this is a good one. For the robot mode and the vehicle mode, it's meh. But like I say, the likes of Gerard will still get why this is a nice bot to buy, even though we freely admit that we're lunatics for actually wanting them. Anyway, I'll leave it there because I feel like I'm starting to waffle and probably bore you senseless. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again for another Transformers review.